Hello to YouTube friends. Recently we visited New Mexico and came across this old abandoned area with some buildings on it. Did you see that bird up there? That bird was watching us the whole time. So I tried to capture some shots of the different buildings. You can see they're all empty. I wanted to get a closer look, but there's a barbed wire fence that's preventing us from going in there. So I'm taking that as a hint that we're not to trespass. So I did the best I could, recording what I could see from the vantage point that we were at. You can see everything's overgrown. If there were any windows here, they're all missing. And we're not quite sure what this place was. Now this main building here, it's possible it used to be a gas station, but when I look at some of the other buildings and the remnants, it looks like maybe it was part of a ranch. So maybe even there was a house on the property and the owner owned a gas station and a ranch. We'll take a closer look at some of these things, but in the meantime, we'll also get a chance to look at some of the surrounding beautiful scenery. Here's the view across the street or across the road. Pretty open, a lot of vegetation. It is the middle of July. It was very hot and dry. But lots of pretty things to look at, some nice contrasts there. So the camera's turning back full around to that building we were looking at with the fallen canopy, and there's that bird still sitting there. We're looking at it from another point of view now, and we're seeing more of the underneath of the fallen canopy. Looks like a lot of wood that is rotted there. I just had to get a close-up of this bird because I've never seen a bird like this before, and he was really intently staring at us. Here we're looking around more at some of the open areas of the building. You can see through the back. A door is either missing or wide open there. And we're getting a hint of the vegetation that lays behind the building. We're going to take some aerial views because we're going to see how beautiful the landscape is. Look, right away we're seeing some ridges, some rich colored soil. You can see just beyond there's the expressway and there's traffic moving, but look at how pretty that is. So I'm moving in a little bit closer so we can see a little bit more of the hills and crests here. Looks like some trees are growing. And we're turning the camera around, and now we're looking across the road again and turning it all the way around, and we're looking here from an aerial view. Okay, here we are taking a deeper look to across the street now. And again, we can see for miles and miles. And let's turn back around toward the direction of the main building. You can see there are other buildings there. We'll take a closer look at some of those, but again, it looks kind of like a ranch, but there are also clues that make it look like it could have been an old gas station. It looks like an abandoned car there and maybe some sort of wagon or trailer. And let's turn the camera around here. And you can see some fencing, which makes me think that maybe at one time, at least part of this property was a ranch. And look, you can see tires scattered around too, which is another thing that makes me think this might have been an old gas station. And the owner maybe owned a ranch and had a residence on the property as well. Ooh, we're getting another good look from a different angle at some of those hills there and ridges. Very pretty. Isn't that just gorgeous? And there's a car flipped over. And now we're coming the other way. We can see some of the other buildings. I'm not sure what that gray one could have been. Maybe it was some sort of cattle holding area, but We can see now much of those building pieces are scattered about. There's more tires there. And there's the back of the main building we're looking at. More tires over here. And then we're heading back to the main road, looking a little bit more at the vegetation. And switching angles again. Now look at the roof of that building that we were looking at. This is the back. And the roof must be some sort of metal because it's still in pretty good shape. Maybe a little rusted, but it only has a couple of little holes in it. But we're also getting a better look at that canopy that has fallen, which is made of wood. So that definitely would deteriorate much faster than any metal parts. Here's another look of that canopy from the back, and that bird is still sitting there. He was really intent that he was not going to move. He watched us carefully, though. We can see some more fencing here. We're looking down at some of that vegetation. Again, has that old Wild West look to it, just like depicted in old Western movies. Now we're coming down to the front and getting a closer look at that canopy. And I'm interested in seeing how close to that bird I can get. We're looking a little underneath the canopy, moving up to see the bird, and he's looking. He's a little wary of us, but he's not budging at all. He's got that really big bill and a fan tail. He's unusual looking. I have not seen a bird like that. Well, anyway, I just thought you would find it interesting. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and see you next time.